My name is Ervin Sahota, and in this short video I will explore barriers to creativity in higher education. I will explore how to integrate assessment whilst also encouraging creativity. Creativity is important for problem solving and innovation, but is also positively linked to psychological well-being, deeper learning experiences, and increased student employability. It is important to challenge those that only view creativity as an innate skill, with creativity being recognized as a learnable skill. Guilford's work with divergent and convergent thinking helped to show that we all have divergent thinking abilities, and that creativity can be considered as a core element of intelligence. Creativity is so important in helping graduates perform well in the real world that creating lies at the top of Bloom's taxonomy. The future of higher education will be intrinsically linked to designing environments supporting the development of creative mindsets for increased problem-solving abilities. One of the challenges we face can be recognized in the work of Schon, including the reflective practitioner. Schon made the unsettling predictions of the burdening demand of technological tools as delivery systems. Schon termed this as technical rationality, but his concern was that this almost mechanical automaton approach would fail to deal with the complexities we face in the real world. He described the difficulties we face as swampy lowland messes which would defy technical rationality. He also introduced the important terms of reflecting in action and reflecting on action, which is going to be even more important with the pace of change increasing in the real world. Despite the concern that the reliance on technological processes may impede creativity, there is also the thought that there is a positive reciprocating relationship between creativity and technology. Human creativity drives technological change, which in turn provides new contexts and tools for creative expression. Digital creativity is described as an imaginative activity mediated by digital technologies which result in original and valuable outcomes for the learner. So what barriers do we face, and what can facilitate creativity? From a study by Mueller, facilitators of creativity in higher education include the personality of the academic, the desire to improve teaching quality, increasing employment opportunities for students, and benefits to mental health. Mueller, Mabich, and Adobe suggest barriers to creativity in education systems include institutions not designed towards creativity, an over-reliance on past teaching models and previous materials, not enough resources or time, and a heavy reliance on assessment and testing. Mental models and perception of assessment clash with creativity. Assessment is usually seen as requiring convergent thinking, seeking correct answers for standardized outcomes, essentially the bringing together of different individuals to have the same or at least similar answers. How do you feel when you think about assessment? Cultural models of assessment consider it as rigid and fun-sapping. Assessment may also be perceived as a way to separate winners and losers. Creativity is culturally perceived as an innate trait, requiring freedom to generate novelty. It can also be seen as mysterious and explorative beyond assessment. Several dichotomous tensions appear when considering incorporating assessment for creativity. The first of these could be considered the balance with psychometric and behavioral aspects. Another could be the differing focuses on the creative process versus how creative the product is. There is also a challenge of assessing individual performance in group work when undertaking creative endeavors. Debates can also occur on whether creativity is domain-specific or domain-general. The 4P model can be useful for considering the different aspects of creativity and incorporation into higher education. The first P represents the person. This is concerned with person-centric creative assessment, evaluating creative abilities. There are instruments which explore creative abilities, experience, and personality. The second P is the process, and this can only be evaluated through asking individuals to do something which allows an analysis of the process, such as Guilford's tests exploring divergent thinking. The third P is a product, and this is hard to ignore as the product needs to be considered as novel and to have value. There are difficulties with evaluating products as some creators are not recognized within their lifetime. Also, assessing a singular product of creativity negates examining the full potential of an individual and the impact of limited resources or prior experience. The fourth P is called the press, which is also termed as the environment. This includes the time, place, setting, culture, climate, and available resources. This should be an important focus in higher education to provide and design environments which can nurture creativity. Assessment has considerable influence in how students will develop learning strategies. With increasingly complex and overloaded curricula, students will struggle to perform or create a strategy based on passing assessments with the greatest efficiency. Formative assessments provide a safe space in which students can explore more creative approaches, and they are more likely to do this when formative assessment is explicitly and clearly linked to summative performance for students. If the focus is to be on creativity, then focusing the assessment on the process aspects of creativity with timely and two-way feedback would help increase student engagement and help to develop the creative process. This would help to reduce the disparity in resource availability and previous experience and provide the critical skills to continue to self-develop and evolve. The focus on creativity can prompt higher levels of reflection and self-assessment as well as deeper learning. Assessments can also be reframed towards problem-solving assignments combined with the above feedback model. Rich documentation such as videos, recordings, photographic material, and written notes can surpass predetermined assessment forms. Documentation can act as a tool for assessing and nurturing creativity and help to cultivate creativity rather than trying to assess something which should constantly be evolving. It is important to acknowledge that assessments have a transformative potential in empowering learners to explore, discover, and express their uniqueness in the world. There will of course be challenges in developing assessment which can accommodate, recognize, and validate learning in all of its complexity. It is interesting to appreciate that historical, creative explosions correlate with human, cultural, and social development, not evolution. Examples of this include the advancements of tool manufacturing, weaponry, and art. The socio-constructive approach bears considerable merit, and peer feedback can also prompt a deeper level of reflection and learning. This resonates with Lev and Wenger's communities of practice, which place importance on fostering collaborative and supportive environments where students can engage with their peers and mentors to enhance their learning outcomes and experiences. Some things can be difficult to reconcile readily, such as light behaves both as a wave and a particle with what we call wave-particle duality. Dmitriy has a wonderful chapter on creative dialectics. Dmitriy proposes a third space where we deconstruct the whole, then reconstruct the parts, making a case that abstraction is subjective, but the act of making something concrete and tangible is linked to an objective reality. Dmitriy proposes that moving from dualistic scales, e.g. light and dark, can be reconciled as triadic conceptions and reconciliation of opposites. This could be a person's intrapersonal dialogic process for a creative dialectic. This is relevant as we should be capable of both divergent thinking for idea generation and convergent thinking for the application of an idea. Therefore, applied creativity is the triadic reconciliation of both divergent and convergent thinking. Although more research is required on how to incorporate creativity into higher education, we know that providing a conducive environment and empowering students to explore creative processes can yield positive results. An approach with structured scaffolding with the judicious use of formative assessments linked to purposeful summative assignments increases student engagement as a part of their learning strategies. Importantly, the formative space allows a student to take more risk and develop a deeper level of learning. Assessment modes should be considered which can maximize resource efficiency, such as digital creativity, problem-solving assignments, portfolios, blogs, and vlogs. Considered dialogic feedback can also help to increase student performance and prompt a deeper understanding and subsequent improvement of results. The benefits of incorporating creativity into higher education are that students would experience deeper learning levels and develop their problem-solving abilities, which will ultimately make them more employable.